Hello, everyone, and welcome to the best and worst of Walt Disney World. I am your host, Rhino Clavin. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the best and worst of 2019, the things that we are or are not looking forward to next year. To join me for this discussion, we've got Mr. Charles Boda.
Hello.
Mr. Steve Porter.
Hello.
And in the back, the man who makes it happen, Mr. Craig Williams.
Bump it up.
What?
And he is just psyched. He is ready to go, and yeah. So let's dive right in here. I, before the show, made a list of pretty much everything I could find that was coming in 2019, and it was a surprising amount. I thought it was, when you think 2019, everybody automatically Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge. That's what you're thinking. But we should just go through this list, and we'll say whether it's a best or a worst on the list. But let's do the obvious one first. Let's talk about Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge. You're not excited for that even a little bit, are you, Charles?
I mean, clearly best.
Yeah. I don't even think it's a question.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the only thing I'm just wondering is, whether they exceed my expectations, because they did with a property I didn't like in Pandora. So a property that I love, I'm I haven't set the bar too high. I'm just open-minded about it. But, I'm really, really anticipating just to see how much they put into it.
I'm very, very excited as well. I think the only thing that could be a potential detractor is how crowded it's going to be in the very beginning, which is that's nothing that Disney could, it is, the land is what it is, but I'm just imagining the experience, whether or not it's super enjoyable. If you're shoulder to shoulder and the lines are 4 hours long, I can imagine. Don't get me wrong, I'm still very, very excited, and it's still definitely on my best list. I'm just thinking if there's anything to take away from it, it's going to be the crowd.
The crowd levels will be the worst.
Yeah.
But I think about when the opening of the 2 Harry Potter lands at Universal Studios. I think about how insane it was when that very first one opened, and it was like a 6-hour wait just to get into the park, to get into the land, and people still loved it. It was crowded and stuff, and that crowd level. And I know these are 2 different properties and stuff, but it's I think the closest thing we can compare it to. But I remember going fairly early on too, and it was crowded, but you just kind of deal with it because you love it. I think. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things that if you want to go and experience it, you just have to upfront say, I don't care about how busy it is. And if you can accept that, then you're going to inevitably enjoy it. I'm excited for the 2 attractions. That's the specific part about it that I'm excited about. Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, and then the Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying that the merchandise and the experience of being there and the cantina and all the food and beverage options aren't going to be great, but I don't know. I haven't gotten excited about them. I think that's because I have been able to go to a couple of the Star Wars Galactic Nights where they do themed Star Wars food items, and they're always
still just missing it.
Yeah, they still not really quite hitting it. So if they go the route they kind of did with Pandora with Satuli Canteen and come up with something that kind of feels authentic but is still just really quality food made in a very quick fashion that still has not gone downhill in terms of quality, then I think they could have a hit there. But for me, it's at least leading up to it, I'm all about the attractions first and foremost, and then I'll have to play the rest by ear. So I know just walking around the land's going to be beautiful, but the extras with it.
And that's one thing that I'm looking forward to is there's so much content that they're working with where I'm looking forward to a lot of the little Easter eggs that they put in there when you're just walking around, just the land immersion. And one thing with the crowds that I'm planning in advance is just setting the scene for a bustling but seedy planet spaceport kind of thing. So the crowds will just kind of fit in. I'll just imagine everybody is in just some terribly dangerous alien.
And up the Xanax prescription as well.
Yes.
That's what
They're definitely going to be able to pulse into the land too. So that's not going that could help it. I mean, it could end up meaning really, really long lines outside to try to get into it, but they are most definitely going to do that. I mean, Wizarding World did it for the longest time, and now it's not necessary anymore. Toy Story Land had to do it on the very first day, and Pandora did as well for a while there too. So that's the one thing I hope, that even if it means you might not even get in that day, or it might be super long lines to get in, if they can control that experience, make it a little bit better inside by not letting as many people in, why not?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Especially, so I actually broke up this list by theme parks, so we'll just stick at Hollywood Studios. But it's the 30th anniversary of the park next year, so that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, is how they're going to be celebrating this. One of those ways, obviously, the opening of this new land. So having some other stuff ready to go, since there's going to be lines to get into the Galaxy's Edge, is a good idea. And one of those is the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which will be is projected to open fall 2019. And that attraction, I have the official description here, will be using breakthrough technology to transform a two-dimension cartoon into an amazing real-world experience. The first ever ride-through attraction themed to Mickey Mouse will feature a new original story and lovable theme song as it takes guests on a journey inside the wacky and unpredictable world of Disney Channel's Emmy Award-winning Mickey Mouse cartoon shorts. So I think it'll be cool, because that will have just opened as well. It says fall 2019. My guess is, well, Galaxy's Edge also says fall 2019, but I'm guessing December 30th for Galaxy's Edge, and maybe this will be like in September or October or something. But what do we think about this? I don't know where I land on this one still. I want to be open-minded. And I don't know. You tell me.
I'm very open-minded. I like the idea of stressing animation a little more in the park. And, it's not like we've seen a ton of it, but from what we have to go on, it looks like it will be fun. And that's really all I'm looking for. Just it looks like it will be like a fun attraction.
Yeah.
I am excited. I think the details from Destination D, even though they were, nothing huge news about the attraction, it did kind of put me over to the edge to be excited about it. Like just the sound effects being actual recorded from
mice.
What?
Actual mice.
Actual mice dialogue.
The Folly props, right? Correct?
Yeah, they're using a lot of the original props that Jimmy McDonald, he was the sound effects specialist way back in the day for the Walt Disney Studios. They're reusing his props in order to do the sound effects. So like the train sounds that will be in it are the same ones they used to like bring Casey Jr. to life.
Oh, that's cool.
In that sense, the whistle that they'll have for the train is the same one that they used in the Steamboat Willie recording. So like they are embracing the history of Mickey Mouse and past cartoons and everything they've done and putting it into this attraction. So those are the details that us big mega nerds are going to appreciate, but the average guest will never know at all.
I think that'll be a nice subliminal like sort of thing in the ride, though. You won't know exactly why it is that you feel the things you feel when you're on it, but that'll lend itself into the storytelling. I'm excited because it is, like they say, it is the first attraction that is really like Mickey Mouse is the main character, and you've got the other characters involved as well. And so I'm looking forward to that. Do I wish it wasn't this animation? Sure, but I understand.
I also wish it wasn't this location. Their reasoning for why it's in the Chinese theater to me was kind of weak. It's like some Mickey Mouse movie once premiered there.
Well, they're there because they're premiering another movie, a new Mickey Mouse short, the Mickey Mouse in Perfect Picnic. But
so their goal is to go to the premiere there? That's the theme of the attraction?
We're going to the premiere there.
Okay.
We are going to the premiere inside the Chinese theater for Mickey and Minnie in Perfect Picnic. But it's just dating back to all the times that Mickey, as well as Disney, has had premieres at Chinese theater. So that's at the Chinese theater. So that's why they're keeping that. For me, it's about capacity. If this ride is very low capacity, and the waits are just massive, then I don't think they did themselves justice with it. As great as the ride could end up being, they need something that's just going to really take in a lot of people. Like Great Movie Ride was in there before. It could get long waits, but each one of those slow-moving vehicles held a lot of people. So
do we know the vehicles yet for this? I don't think we do, right?
It's a train.
Oh, it is an actual train. Okay.
It's you could say it's a runaway railway.
Okay, so my fear in this attraction, and then we'll move on to another one, is it is going, like, I think that they're trying to pump it up to be something like innovative and different than what they've done, and it's essentially going to be like, all right, we have the Great Movie Rides track. It goes into these rooms and these rooms here and here, and we are essentially going to gut everything out of here. We're going to change the cart. It's going to move slowly, and it's just going to be like Mickey scene, Mickey scene, Mickey scene, Mickey scene, like all screens and everything, and no real innovation there. Screens don't bother me. It's about using innovation in addition to the screen.
No, it will be innovated.
Yeah.
It will, for sure.
Okay. Well, so there's that. And then another thing that I'm really looking forward to is the new nighttime show, Wonderful World of Animation, which will use state-of-the-art projection technology to take guests on a magical journey through the more than 90 years of Disney animation, all beginning with Mickey Mouse himself. I do really enjoy the nighttime spectacular shows at Hollywood Studios, specifically the projection shows on the Chinese theater, especially something that celebrates the history of things. They're doing, what's the movie one I like right now?
Well, that's Disney Movie Magic. That's the pre-show of the fireworks.
I enjoy that because it has a lot of random, Disney titles in there that you wouldn't see, like if they did the show at Magic Kingdom. It's got like Sister Act and the Rocketeer, and Tron's in there, and I wish they had put the budget into it that they could have and used like the actual music from those movies so that it wasn't this like cheap royalty-free music, but. If the show, which is celebrating animation, is even has a little bit of more effort put into it, I think it's going to be something cool to look forward to.
I think there's too much animation in Hollywood studios, and you should take the focus away from it.
Yeah. I will say with my thoughts on this, I love the concept for the show. I want to make sure though that it isn't okay. Let's feature Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Moana, Tangled, Frozen, and let's leave it at that. So if this is going to celebrate the wonderful world of animation, I think it needs to represent as best as it can.
Errors.
Every single, that would be the perfect way to do it. If you can't represent every single movie individually, represent the era, represent the early stages with Snow White and Dumbo and Fantasia and Pinocchio, and then move on and do more of the golden year with Cinderella, and even before that, then get in, Cinderella, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, then move into the 60s at the end of Walt's legacy, and then the rough 70s, 80s, and then the Renaissance, and now, and then that time in between, and then once it revitalized once again, like there's these broken sections that Disney fans know about throughout the history.
Well, like show us Black Cauldron. People know what it is. Like
that would be in the dark 80s.
Use some of that. I agree with you. I think it would be cool. It would also be neat if they had the Mickey Mouse of those eras. If Mickey Mouse is the main thread through this, that it was, so it starts with Steamboat Willie, and it, he kind of. The look of the Mickey that pops in and out is the Mickey that's there, but I'm not an Imagineer. So
you're seeing Mickey like evolve as the show. Yeah, that'd be cool.
It could end with that disgusting Mickey that's in the Runaway Railway, or it could be the Sorcerer Mickey, but whatever.
I mean, I feel like it would end with the Sorcerer Mickey, but I would like to see it like when he's at his most disgusting, like, oh.
Yeah, like it's like this really three-dimensional Mickey, and then all of a sudden it just... Like he has like a Picasso moment.
Pulls his own face
and
off.
Here we have Mickey has some sort of trauma. So there's that, and then there's actually a lot more happening in the park too. They are going to be reopening that Pixar Place area and welcoming the Incredibles. So Pixar Place will transform into Municiberg, city block where a party will be held in honor of Mr. Incredible, Mrs. Incredible, and Frozone to celebrate their super deeds. You can meet the one and only Edna Mode, who will have a special location on Pixar Place showcasing some of her best creations. And also on Pixar Place, you can find clues to the whereabouts of the youngest Incredible, the mischievous and multi-powered Jack Jack. So essentially that area is just blocked off right now. That used to be the entrance of Toy Story, and then stopped where the construction of Star Wars was. So I think this will be a nice, just something in a space they didn't have. You know what I mean? People love the Incredibles. They want to do the meet and greet.
It's a beautiful area, and it's just they put so much work and effort into that way back when they made Toy Story Mania that I feel like it just needs to be open just so we can keep those details in there, that brickwork and everything that's beautiful about it.
I'm not sure how it's going to look like a city with the Incredibles there. Like, it seems like it's marketing itself as. It still looks like it's going to be the Pixar studios to me, but...
Well, it's supposed to be this municipal... Well, Pixar Studio is supposed to look like some area of San Francisco where Pixar is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that our friend was there with us, and she even said, this looks exactly like the entrance to the building.
Oh, that's cool. Okay,
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what Toy Story was originally modeled after. The one here, and it made no sense, but I liked it anyways. And then Edna's character meet and greet area is going to be where like Buzz and Woody used to be in the inside of that building, I'm sure. So I'm sure it will be minimal effort, but that's all. It's like what you said. We just need a little extra space.
Well, just more spreading people out is better.
Yeah.
And I mean, Incredibles 2 was a massive success over the summer, so it only makes sense to continue to ride on its success.
Well, and I know they were very popular when they used to do the meet and greets in the animation courtyard before it, the animation building before it became the Star Wars area
Launch bay
over there. But speaking of those Pixar characters, you'll also be able to meet Mike and Sully from Monsters Inc. at Walt Disney Presents Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. I'm sorry.
You'll
be able to meet. Yeah, I literally just kept reading my sentence. You'll be able to meet Mike and Sully from Monsters Inc. at Walt Disney Presents. You're also going to have Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy that will debut at Hollywood Studios in the spring of 2019. And in that show experience, you'll come face to face with Lightning and learn from his years of experience on the track and outside of the Racing Academy. And you'll get to meet Cruz Ramirez. So lumping all of this like reinvigoration of Pixar characters back into Hollywood studios. Do you think this is something to look forward to? Is this something that's going to be terrible?
To me, none of these things really like pop out or stand out as like big major changes. But what I like about them is once the things that I am super interested in, Runaway Railway, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge come out, the rest of the park is going to start to look more fleshed out. There aren't going to be dead areas. As much. They're thinking about ways to use them. So even if I'm not like much of a meet and greet person myself, I like the idea of by the beginning of 2020, it's starting to feel like a complete park, not such a work in progress. You know?
The Lightning McQueen experience thing, I think it will really come down to, like most things, is how well it's done. But I'm concerned because what first popped into my head was like, do you guys remember the Pirates of the Caribbean and the Narnia building for a while there that you like walked in and it was like you basically like watched a pre-show. Well, I don't know what it's going to be, but it looks like you're going to walk into a room and you're going to watch Lightning McQueen do something.
Yeah, I think it's a 200-foot long wrap screen that will try to immerse you in it.
Where is it going though?
It's going in where the building right beside
Rock and
Roller Coaster, the empty sound stage.
That used to be where
Club Villain was there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. I loved Club Villain.
Well, it's
I know it's
gone.
been gone
I mean,
for like
before
2
that,
years.
it was. I mean, it's,
I
love that when they used to use that as the gift shop for Star Wars weekends, and it's they always constantly move stuff in and out of there. So this isn't something I foresee as being permanent. I think it's going to be a somewhat temporary thing, but it's massive. Cars is huge with boys, and that's anything they can do to target more with little boys, but like having Cruz Ramirez too, having a nice female character. I know it sounded really awkward there, but it's until Star Wars is open up and even like. It's still Disney. It's you think princess. So anything that you can invigorate with something that's more aimed towards little boys in particular. That's what they have always tried with stuff like the pirate makeup crap that they do over at Adventureland, things like that. So it's going to fill personally, I'm
happy to see Pixar getting invigorated into Hollywood studios. There was that rumor years ago that that would become that they would do not just Toy Story Land, but there would be essentially half the park was going to become a Pixar Land because there was development at one period in time for a Monsters Inc. family roller coaster, and then the recession hit, so it didn't happen. But there was there's those little things, and I thought that if Pixar is going to go anywhere, I feel like it would be a great place at Hollywood Studios. It feels like it fits in there. But so I know all this is temporary, but it would be nice to kind of. I'm with you on that. I'm very hesitant about, especially the Cars one being kind of a cheap thing, but
especially if Craig says it's going to be, or he thinks it's going to be temporary, which I do agree. That sounds about right. And temporary, and like kind of the description of it lends me to believe it's not going to be like a big budget type of thing. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, there is one more thing at Hollywood Studios, and that is the Disney Junior Dance Party. There's a new version of this coming out with, you guessed it, Vampirina.
Charles is very excited.
Finally, other favorites.
Finally,
yeah, we got the little vampire baby. I don't know what she is. I don't know her story. I know she was at the Disneyland Halloween parade on the back of a float, waving at people.
She's got a show. She's based off a series of books called Vampirina Ballerina. I know this because I wrote the stories. I didn't write Vampirina Ballerina. I wrote the new story. Starting to talk myself into a corner here. I'm just a huge fan, guys. I just got to be honest.
He cosplays.
Yeah. Another thing Hollywood Studios is also getting, though. Anybody excited for the new logo?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you said that because I almost lost it because it was the first sentence I wrote here. It is interesting. This park had a title redo, 10 years ago, or 2008. Yeah, 10 years ago this year. So it's interesting that it's getting a redo again this year, especially after they just built the new entrance into the park that I'm like, what is the new logo going to be? So, any guess?
Pit Viper.
Just terrible guess. But I'm wondering if it's just going to be the Chinese theater is going to officially become the logo again or something. I don't know if it ever officially was, or if it was the Eiffel Tower that was the logo officially or whatever, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it needs to be, let's not use a park icon as a logo. Let's just use something, anything like that, because that's the problem. Eiffel Tower, once a logo gone, everyone looks at the Chinese theater as the logo.
What was the hat?
Can't use that. The hat thrown up, that's gone. Tower of Terror, it's good right now, but who knows, one day someone will make a bad decision. Let's just stop linking it to attractions and just make it something on its own.
Maybe that's like the logo curse. If you put it on the logo, you're going to lose that attraction.
Yeah, pretty much. So looking forward to what we'll lose next. Well, let's hop over to Magic Kingdom. We've got Mickey and Minnie's Surprise Celebration. Now, this is going to be a number of things under an umbrella. So this occurs from January 18th to September 30th of 2019, and it's going to be Mickey and Minnie's Surprise Celebration that'll feature new food, merchandise, and entertainment, including a new dance party with Mickey, Minnie, and their friends called Move It, Shake It, Mouse Could Dance It Street Party. Who was like Mouse Could Dance? Not this like mouse dance. They're like Mouse
Could Dance.
Well, I feel like there's not enough. You need a in there.
That actually goes back to the Mickey Mouse Club. They had their whole their language that was based around mousecas.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm not making that up at all. So basically, back in the day, they would just, before any other word at the end, they would just attach Mouska to it.
Yeah. God, did you get a Mouska dog at the cafeteria today?
Totally unrelated to Five-O Mouskowitz.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But also a nice tribute from Don Bluth. So back to Disney. So keeping it full circle.
I'm not one to say get rid of stuff, but man, they are really milking those floats from the Move It, Shake It, Celebrate It, which is over 10 years old now too. And it's just kind of like, how many times are you going to put a new paint job on something, advertise it as a new thing, and when really it's just like, all right, Mickey and Minnie are wearing festive outfits now instead of another thing. So for me, this is not, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who are going to lose their mind. I think this is just kind of like also I don't like that it's called like Surprise Celebration, because it's like Donald and Goofy were like, oh, we forgot you guys turned 90. Surprise, we scheduled the party at the wrong year. Like
one of the things that they use it as like a selling point, but they're like, we wrote a new song for this, which you're going to hear multiple times throughout the day on Main Street. And I think about the Move It, Shake It, songs that I hear multiple times that like get in my head. And I don't have a lot of hope and faith that this is not going to be annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I can see why if they throw new characters on the back of one of these, little kids will be excited. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm not excited for it at all.
The new costumes are great that they're going to have in there with, and even like throwing Clarabelle Cow in the mix with her new outfit too with it. Like, I like what they're doing. It's just, I think we talk about it from time to time that a lot of these decisions are being made by people who have never stepped foot in a theme park.
Yeah.
And I feel like no one has ever stepped in during a time where Move It, Shake It, Celebrate It was coming down Main Street USA and then parking in the hub and dealing with just how obnoxious and out of control it is, and having cast members screaming at people to get up on the streets and stuff. Like, I feel like if an executive would walk in during that time at some point and see the madness, they'd be like, "Why are we doing this? This isn't good guest service. This isn't helping anyone. This little extra entertainment." So, yeah.
Right now, the way it works, it always feels superfluous to me. Like with Move It, Shake It, like all of the other events, entertainment, parades, stuff like that, they have like a clear purpose or something. Move It, Shake It always seems like they're trying too hard and they really don't need to. Like, people are already kind of enjoying themselves or on their way to an attraction or thing, and it just like comes out of nowhere, disrupts everything, and there's not like
It's
a real tying. Maybe this one will be a little better because Move It, Shake It doesn't have any like tying theme that really makes me want to get invested in it. It's just noise and clapping and dancing. But
sorry, I was just gonna say, I feel like I can only stand in the hub for maybe like 30 minutes out of the day where there's just something that isn't loud happening.
That's what I was just going to say, is that my issue is that it becomes very disruptive of the atmosphere of Main Street. And like, he said it best that there's cast members that are yelling at you to get out of the way, do the stuff, but then they're like blaring the music and doing the dance party. And I'm not saying like, oh, that isn't enjoyable for people, but the problem is you can't plan your day around it really, because it kind of happens. I mean, it changes times all the time. At least the parade, you're like, okay, I know when the parade is. I know when it's going to be easy or difficult to get in and out down that area. This is like, oh man, I did not account for this. But also like, I wish there were just more like Dapper Dans were out on Main Street more. They did more of the vehicles like they did in California or something like that. Something that made it feel more like the hustle and bustle of old America.
I've never been annoyed by the trolley show coming through like I am with like Move It, Shake It.
That's a good point.
And it does cause like tiny little delays, those things, like maybe you have to walk around or anything. But that kind of stuff makes me feel Main Street. A little trolley show. I'll stop and watch this one. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Usually I will though. But it's not this giant, like incredibly loud, bustling thing that just delays everything for a while.
Yeah, investing that money and time and resources into like little streetmosphere things on Main Street, I feel like I agree. It makes more sense.
Well, speaking of loud, annoying things, over at Animal Kingdom, Hakuna Matata Time Dance Party is a thing that's happening to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Walt Disney Pictures' The Lion King, with Timon and Rafiki in the Hakuna Matata Time I wrote this sentence terribly. In the Hakuna Matata Time Dance Party on Discovery Island. I literally just kept writing in the. You can let your inner animal roam free on the dance floor in this raucous party.
Wow.
I mean, it's whatever. It's clearly not geared toward me. It's geared toward families with like little kids or something like that who are trying to have fun. I think when they do the dance parties in Tomorrowland, they're cute. I think I have my nephews have come down and they've enjoyed it. My niece enjoyed it. Like, I think it's cute to watch them too, like have a lot of fun and see their characters that interact with them. At least this one is kind of like away from the park, so you have to go there specifically to interact with it. And I like that they are celebrating The Lion King. I wish maybe they were celebrating it a little bit more than this. But
I wish it would be just a complete dream if they would bring back, I can't remember the name of the event, but it was what they ran in, I guess it would have had to have been 2014 for the 20th anniversary, where they did a retelling of The Lion King inside the Festival of the Lion King Theater, but had celebrity narrators.
Oh, that's
come
cool.
and tell it. And then after the show was done, that it was expensive. I want to say it was around like $100 a ticket, maybe a little bit less than that. But then after you were done, you went into Africa and you had just this big wild party where it was all the free booze you could drink.
After hours event?
And no, it wasn't after, like it was after hours.
Yeah.
But it was just this very limited summer event, and they had all the booze you could drink, all the free food you could want to eat. Like I walked out of there with a pineapple, like a full pineapple.
Oh my gosh.
And then but everyone was just getting into it. Like I walked past a cast member who was holding a balloon, and I was like, "Is that your balloon?" Like, yeah. And like, do you want it? And like, yeah, I do. And I took that balloon. And so I left with a balloon and a pineapple. And like, that was an amazing event that celebrated The Lion King. So anything to celebrate The Lion King, in my opinion, is great. I just wish they could do one of those again, because that was like, was an
especially
awesome time.
since it's 25 years, we were the little kids going to see The Lion King. So it's kind of like, I wish there was a little something for people like us who are now the adults who have loved watching it our whole lives, versus like, I get that, they have the show at Animal Kingdom and stuff like that. I just wish there was a celebration that was like, okay, we can understand this was a kid's movie, but the adults like it too. So, and let's celebrate the new live action Lion King too. But, that's all we know now. So there could be stuff coming in the future.
I will say, though, The Lion King was never just a kid's movie.
No, I don't think so.
That's one of the ones that I think stuck out more than any other, that, Disney movies can be for adults too, by taking Elton John and attaching him to it, and then a lot of the celebrity voices that they got for it too. That was it has stood the test of time because it was for everyone.
Yeah. Let's go over to the one park we haven't been to yet, and that is Epcot, which will Epcot Forever will debut in the fall 2019 and feature classic Epcot tunes. I don't know what that means. Epcot Forever will begin with a spark of imagination, and that sounds like Figment, and I don't like the sound of that, but that swells into an epic spectacle of fireworks, music, lighting, lasers, and special effects kites. The kites is interesting to me, but I know I love Illumination's Reflections of Earth, but I am open to new things. I want to see where they're going to go with this. This isn't the permanent show. Epcot Forever is just holding us over till the one that debuts in 2020 happens. But I'm interested for something new.
I'm excited because it'll be something new, but I'm always concerned with temporary things, because it means like there's usually not the full budget to go like full regalian and to make it like this big production like it should be.
That's not necessarily true. It could be something like Disneyland Forever that was just a very big spectacle, but it was an expensive show, and if you can throw a whole bunch of money at something that's temporary because it is temporary. And so I hope that's what they go with it. I mean, it's the fact that we're going to hear classic Epcot music. I hope it means like the classic songs. So Tomorrow's Child,
Captain EO.
I mean, that's a little past classic for me, but some of the other songs that you get, Universe of Energy, stuff from Kitchen Cabaret and Food Rocks. Like, I want to hear all of that. If it's just like actual orchestral music, that's also fine too. But I feel like they can do so much with the song catalog that Epcot has had throughout its history. There's a lot of gems in there.
Well, it's nice to see a celebration of the history of the park too. You don't often see that too, or I guess we haven't seen that very often here. When the 20th of Hollywood Studios rolled around, they didn't really do anything, and so it'll be nice to see how they treat that. But
I think they did special fireworks with Hollywood Studios music for the 20th from the movies represented in the park.
Maybe
I don't remember.
Not as
I was
an
there
ongoing event. I was working there. Yeah,
only for that day.
Okay,
it was just that day.
I was gonna say, like, I'd like to see like when they're hitting these milestones, like 25 years, 30 years, whatever. I know Epcot Forever isn't an anniversary. It's not an anniversary. No. So it's like, but I don't know. I just want to see. I want to see a little more hoopla now that we're getting into. We're past the point of, what is it? 25 years and you become an antique. I think that's the rule of thumb.
I know. I think it's retro. It's like retro vintage antique or something.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up after this.
Craig.
What?
Yeah, Craig.
I don't know what that means. So
It was like crikey without saying it.
Oh, okay.
I'm channeling my inner Steve Irwin.
well, we also obviously with the big Star Wars coming in and all this stuff, we've got the new transportation system coming as well. The Disney Skyliner will debut air conditioner free in the fall of 2019. I don't care. I am one of those like. I'm happy for whatever will get people off the roads. I am not one of the people who are like, oh, the sight lines everywhere, whatever. I do think there are some areas of the. I'm trying to leave I'm trying to just be open-minded and wait and see what it actually looks like when there are dangling cars on there, because there are some areas that it comes through where I'm like, this is going to look weird. And then there's other areas where I'm like, this will look pretty cool because it'll be the hustle and bustle of a transportation system that you can see wherever you are running through this entire world that we have here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's one element where to some people it may just like prove like distracting with line of sight theming and everything. But when you're driving around resort property and you see that going back and forth, I don't know, like having a bunch of different modes of transportation, like you've got monorail, boats, cars, and then the Skyliner does make it seem more of like the city of tomorrow kind of aspect when you're coming in, but for us, I don't think it matters as much because we're all locals and we're not really going to use it. I am looking forward to seeing how well it's done. I don't think the lack of air conditioning is going to make it unrideable or anything like that. But with transportation, I think we talked about this maybe last Tuesday show or something. But with transportation, it's the long run is when you really see whether it was a good idea, whether they keep maintaining it, whether it keeps being a thing. So it'll be cool and unique and kitschy at worst, and at best it might actually, keep congestion down a little.
I'm excited to see the views like you can get from up on the Skyliner. I know
can
it's going to be.
Can you see out the windows?
Yes, you'll be able to see out their windows. It's reflective. So from outside looking in, you're going to only see the stickers and decals that they put on it.
Okay, that's
but
right,
from the outside, you'll be able to see.
Okay,
no
that was,
moaning.
I was thinking about that because it had the wrap on it. But
Can you imagine it's just pitch black in there?
just like sitting with strangers? Someone just steal my wallet?
No air holes, just pitch black box.
Yeah, it's a test.
I'm going to interject in this. What I'm sick of is hearing from people who don't live in Florida saying that, we'll just wait till a thunderstorm comes through or a hurricane comes through. When's the last time that we've had like a serious thunderstorm now in the past? Have we had one in the past week? 2 weeks?
We haven't had one in the past month.
Exactly. And we were supposed to have it was like an 80% chance of rain today at one point, and now I just looked at the forecast. It's not going to rain, if at all, until 1 a.m., so way after anything would be running. The point is, even though you hear from people like, every day in Florida it rains at 3 a.m., if people are out there saying, or 3 p.m., if they're saying that, chances are they never lived in Florida. They just have this idea because they heard from someone one time that made that saying up, and they're going with it. It doesn't storm that often down here.
Yeah. Depending on the season.
I was going to say, I felt like this year was particularly stormy.
It does. It's chaotic. It's not always predictable. But the thing that kills me, if, and once again, this is from a room full of people who experience this every day, is that, Florida has a lot of problems, but we are not complete idiots when it comes to planning and designing for this stuff. We know the weather we're building in. So it's not like Disney doesn't take this into account. Just wait till a hurricane. Well, you know what? They won't run when there's a hurricane.
Well, also, the park isn't usually open when there's a hurricane right over the park.
Wait till there's a thunderstorm. Well, there are delays with everything. There are delays with regular road traffic.
Driving on the traffic.
Yeah, when it comes to a thunderstorm. But their designers put work into it. It's not like they don't know the weather patterns of the places they're building in.
Well, they can still run boats when it's lightning outside.
No, we shut those down.
For the people who are listening, he was shaking his head no.
Oh, yeah, I guess I forgot about that.
There are lightning delays for boats on property all of the time.
Well, the other thing is too. So when I worked at Lights Motors Action, I'll just say this and we'll move on. Is that was a giant aluminum stadium that was essentially a lightning conductor. There was quite a bit of equipment in that park that was always monitoring the weather, monitoring where storms were headed, how far away they were. They get their coordinators and all that stuff. They get beeped every so often. They're like, okay, there's a thunderstorm 10 miles away. It's moving this speed. We have to start cycling down and be prepared for that to come here. So it's not just going to be like someone's turn on. Oh my gosh, there's lightning right there. You know, it just doesn't happen like that. So there will be some sense of like, okay. And there are times, I'm sure, where it's going to be crazy lightning and it won't work. But that's what the buses and all that other stuff is for, too. You know, those don't go away just because this is here.
Not to mention, Orlando theme parks are like an industry predicated on like metal tracks where you're in a tiny box moving quickly through the sky. I mean, it's not like you think about any roller coaster, like a big roller coaster in Disney, but more so in Universal and SeaWorld and everything like that, the traditional metal track roller coasters. You do not hear about lightning fatalities. We know how to work around it. We know how to plan around this stuff. So.
Well, you don't hear about it, but there are lightning fatalities in the theme parks every so often. So look those up. It's terrifying because you're like, where did they get struck by lightning? Okay, so there are also 2 resorts that are opening next year, or not 2 brand new resorts, but there's the Grand Destino Tower at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort, which is set to open July 2019. The reservations for that are now open too. But this is a new 15-story tower that will be the centerpiece of that resort. The reimagined Disney's Coronado Springs Resort celebrates the daring spirit of the great Spanish explorers, artists, writers, and architects. I think the whole Coronado Springs like makeover is looking really cool. For one, I mean, I'm never gonna knock a hotel getting more space for people to stay in. I guess it doesn't really affect me either way. But
I'm also excited to see like the bars and restaurants that come with the towers and all the construction that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited. I think that's on the. I we'll see. As far as like what it's going to look like on the inside, and you know how does it measure up to concept art? That's something we still have to wait and see for. But I don't know. I'm always excited to see when new resorts open.
Yeah.
But there's also the Disney's Riviera, right? Riviera Resort, which is projected to open fall 2019, and it's supposed to be the 15th Disney Vacation Club property that is inspired by the European grandeur that Walt Disney experienced in his travels along Europe's Mediterranean coastline. It will be a part of the Skyliner gondola line and adjacent to the Caribbean Beach Resort. Now, this is when I looked up and I was like, I don't hear anything. I didn't know this one was like set to open next year too. I thought we were just getting like one was opening next year and that was it. So
well, it was a pretty quick turnaround, just given the fact that we had rumors about it for so long.
Yeah,
and then once they did announce it, it wasn't too far into the future.
I'm going to hold out judgment completely till I see it in person, but one of the concept artwork pictures that just got released shows like the pool area, and I don't know what the inside of the hotel is going to look like, but the pool area looked like it was just like, I don't know, a luxury hotel, but not like Disney at all. And not in the sense that like Mickey Mouse and stuff wasn't there, but it just like had no theming to like what you just described of, you know, it's Walt's area.
Grandeur.
Yeah.
European
None
grandeur.
of that really seemed like you couldn't see any of that from the pool area. Maybe it's that, you know, the pool area is not themed well, but the rest of the hotel will be. But right now there's not a lot of concept artwork out there.
I don't mean to be rude, but I don't really pay attention to DVC properties as much. Like I'm not a DVC member, so it's not one of those where I'm like, oh, I'm going to be staying there probably. Like we do have a couple friends that are DVC members that I see the properties essentially through what they are. And most DVC properties have been like add-ons to existing properties. So they kind of just fall into that theming. This one, I guess, isn't really.
But it's right next to Caribbean Beach.
Right. So it's supposed to be like, it's a weird like Caribbean Beach.
We're not the same
Mediterranean.
thing.
Yeah, and you're like, it's not really the same thing. But I'll be interested. But again, like I don't really want to. It's another one of those reserve judgment when it gets there. But it is looking like 2019 has a lot of things to offer that are on the best side of our list. Really, just the things that laid toward the worst were really the temporary stuff that was more of the fear with the character meet and greets and stuff like that. But so we'll have to see. But I, for one, am excited for 2019. You know, Star Wars, obviously. Everything else is just icing on the cake. So
Yeah.
So that'll do it for this episode. Thank you guys for having this conversation. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. We'll see you again with another episode soon of the best and worst of Walt Disney World. Bye, everyone.